Cool. Okay, so Lima, thanks very much for joining us today, mate. So we're going to be chatting a little bit about mental resilience regarding goal kicking. And I want to know, what do you think it takes to become a world-class goal kicker?
You know, it's a really good question, and I think when you talk yourself up as a world-class goal kicker, I think it's a process or something that you never really arrive at. It's to be a perfect goal kicker, you're never going to get there, but if you strive to get there, I think your goal kicking percentage will sort of be in the high 80s or low 90s, but you're never ever going to be perfect. But I think if you have that goal to strive to be world class, you're never going to fall far off. And I think for me, it's the big thing I've been able to learn throughout my career is just is the repetition and sort of find what works for you. Some guys like to, when it comes to goal kicking, me personally, having gone through the process of being like who had no confidence to someone now who I just think I back my technique, I back my talent, I back all the hours of hard work now, and I don't fear goal kicking because I've been able to go through I guess that process of becoming better. I think when you start out as a young kid, you're never going to be this sensational goal kicker. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a hooker and I think for young guys, I think that's key, is to have patience with yourself and to just make sure you're putting in the solid work, the solid hours, day in and day out. Also, I think sort of on the practice field is sort of in-house competition is a big one, especially if you're not getting that sort of game feel. Like I've always been big on competing with other goal kickers or even guys who don't goal kick. Like I remember one time we were in Sydney and I was goal kicking against Perenara, and because he's not a goal kicker, I should win, but because the pressure was on me, like he ended up winning the competition, and it was a good lesson for me because I was a proven goal kicker, I let his, trash talk and stuff get into my head. And it was kind of like, I think those moments where you bet something or, you lose to someone in training is just as valuable as, in-game kicks. Like I hated losing to guys in training. I think that almost hurt me more than missing kick in games. You know what I mean? So I think finding those competitions outside of rugby is really important.
100%. So when do you reckon you were probably in your best form of goal kicking, and like how did it feel?
I think probably 215, and maybe now at the moment, I think I'm just at a real peace with myself mentally. And that's something that I think really plays a part into how you goal kick, is if you're, no matter how good your technique is, if you're not right upstairs, I don't think you kick well. And I think in those instances, I think like right now where I'm at now and where I was in 215, I kind of feel like it's that similar flow of I put the ball on the tee and I have no doubt that I'm going to kick it over.
So you said earlier, right now you're in a good place mentally. Like, is that something that you've sort of developed this year? Because there's definitely probably the last 2 years of my career, I was seeing a sports psychologist called Joe Dixon, who works with the Bath team, and he also works with some Premier League football teams. That made just a huge difference not to just my goal kicking, but my overall game of being freer. And I had so much going on in my head. I was worrying about, 10 different things, and in turn, my game suffered. So do you reckon something mentally this year that you've done different to previous years?
Yeah, it's like a bit like yourself. You saw a sports psych. I went and saw a psychologists, just, for overall mental health.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really important too, to sort of open up about emotions and understanding why I react certain ways, or just finding better tools to deal with stress and to deal with
100%, man.
head noise. There's nothing shameful about going to see these types of people and just being like, hey, I don't think I'm right. Or, hey, I get angry at the stupidest shit, like, why am I so angry all the time? Or, why do I feel down? Or whatever it is, because these people are able to give you tools to allow yourself to become free and to release your mind, so that you can do what you love doing, and that's playing rugby, or for guys who goal kick well, goal kicking really well, because we all know when we're goal kicking really well, we're usually playing really well, and that has a flow-on effect into your life, and I think that's been something that's really helped me sort of over the last, the back end of last season, and then heading into this one. I really feel free.
Oh, mate, that's awesome. Honestly, I can't speak highly of him. It's only been my last 2 years that I used it, but I'd be with him like twice a week, like really open up. But I found it so liberating, and it just allowed me to actually go on the training paddock and have small goals, and we'd go over, get my games, and be like, look, or I'd be concerned about someone else knocking on and off, let's say, you 2 teams in training, and my team is making mistakes. I wasn't necessarily making the mistakes, but I would take that on board, and I'd get so much frustration from it. So it was like really liberating in that way. And he was like, well, you've made the good pass, you've kicked, a really good kick. It's not your fault. So I found a lot of freedom. Like, with the highs come the lows. Like, when do you think then you were probably at your lowest goal kicking?
Probably at the start of my career. Definitely, for sure. Like, honestly, I'd put the ball on the tee and it'd be sort of straight in front, and I'd be thinking, all I could be thinking was, don't miss this. Like a kick 25 meters.
Yeah, but they're the hardest ones, man.
Yeah. Like, people will think, oh, this is just easy. So I think that was when I was at my worst, because I didn't have the tools to allow myself to have that free mind. And I also think a bit of that was just the inconsistency with my preparation, in terms, like at school, like I was a good goal kicker, but when these bright lights turn on, they really turn on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different pressure.
Different. And so when I was out there, I was more, I put the ball on the tee, and I wasn't focused on the process. I was focused on the outcome, or the outcome driven. If you're not process driven, you got no chance of the outcome being any good. But I would say that at the start of my career, for sure, because I was just simply putting the ball on the tee, and honestly, I was just kicking and hoping that it would go over, rather than actually knowing that I had done the work, that I had prepared my mind, and I'd prepared, sort of my technique to nail a simple kick. And to be fair, at the start it was really tough, because I would kick bad in a game, and I'm a young guy, like 18, 19, starting out my Super Rugby career. I'd kick 2 from 6, or 3 from 6, and then the next day I would go out and practice for like 3 hours. But it's just like pointless practicing, you know what I mean? So
I know.
Point, you need to be, obviously you need to be working hard and training your craft, but you have to actually be diligent about how you go about it, and you can't just because you kick for 3 hours doesn't make you any better. You know what I mean? Like, whereas you could do 10 kicks and you're still locked in, and you're still focused, and you have, the right technique. That might be all you need.
Kicking for hours, and I remember one of my first professional contracts was down in Plymouth Albion, which is on the coast down south. And the head coach on my first day asked me to kick 100 kicks at goal, and he wanted to see my percentage. Oh man, I had the hernia operation 6 weeks later. Oh man, it was crazy. But like towards the end, I was literally like yourself. I'd say, right, 8 kicks today, no matter what, because I think that trains you for more competition, because you're going to get, there's a chance you probably get 8 kicks in a game, So I think that was really important. So
Yeah.
in if you're in that, you know, low state, or even like early on, well, sorry, later on in your career, and let's say you've missed your first 2 or 3 kicks at goal, like a couple of kicks you probably would, you know, you would normally get, and then, you know, you get another chance to have a shot at goal. How do you reset from, like, how do you like push aside the previous kicks to like the new kick? Is there anything that you would say to yourself, or do you literally just be like, right, I've just got to, you know, I'm hoping this one goes over? Or
For me, like, say I've missed my first one and say I missed my second one, you know, I like to tell myself in my head, I'm such a good kicker that I don't miss 3 kicks on the bounce, you know.
yeah.
So if I had missed 2, or if I do miss, you know, sort of 1 or 2, I think for me, what I would do is, and something I've used in the past is, I'd put the ball on the tee and then I would look around, and I would look around the crowd and I'd find somebody or something that makes me laugh. So I would have a giggle in my head, or I'll be, you know, like I'd see someone like maybe nicking a pint or something like that, or I'd see a, you know, I'd see something funny happen, you know, like someone trip down the stairs or something, or, you know, I just look around and I'd just take it all in. And what that did for me is just kind of bring me back to like the moment. And so that's how I get out of it, is that I try and realize that, okay, you know, you've missed 2 kicks. You're obviously nervous because you don't want to miss 3. So those nerves are going to be there. You can't get rid of those, but you can't allow those things to fester into your next process. And that is simply taking care of the process of kicking the goal. So like if I've missed 2, my third one, I'm not thinking about it going over. I'm just thinking about nailing the process. And if I do that, you know, 9 times out of 10, I believe that the process will take care of the outcome, and it should go over. And as soon as you get your first
100%.
one over, you're just like, bang, you're away laughing. But that's how
Mate, it's yeah, that's awesome, man. And if you could give like 3 pieces of advice for like a young aspiring goal kicker, what would they be?
3 pieces of, what would I tell myself when I was younger? I would say that you only get better with time. So, you know, the time you invest in now will come back, you know, in years down the line. You might not see it, you know, after your 10th kicking session or your 20th, but you might see it when your team is down in 4 years' time and you need this penalty to, you know, put you up by 2. I think it's knowing that all the work you do now will eventually benefit you in the long run. 2, I would always, for me, it was a consistent run up. I think is something that I really found useful, and something that I didn't do that well when I was a sort of like a young kicker. Is that, you know, I'd watch TV and I'd see, you know, I'd see Johnny Wilkinson doing his thing, or I'd see, you know, somebody else doing something cool, and I'd be like, oh, I need something like that. You know, you don't need that. You don't need, you know, that's what works for them. Like, so you just need to find your consistent run up and do what works for you. And the third thing I would sort of go with is that really love being in the pressure moments of being the goal kicker. And I think if you really enjoy those and like welcome the pressure, because it is a privilege, you know, like it is something that is quite unique, and you don't get that playing other positions. But if you get nervous by that, then goal kicking probably isn't for you. But if you get excited and you want to test yourself and thrive in it, and that's something that I really enjoy about goal kicking, is the pressure, is the moment, then, you know, absolutely this is for you. But if you don't like that, and if you're worried about, you know, missing a winning kick, then, you know, goal kicking isn't your cup of tea, because I feel like you've got to want to put yourself in these moments, and you've got to want to enjoy it all. You know, you're not always going to get it right. Sometimes you are going to
Yeah.
miss and whatnot. But I think really enjoying the pressure of it all is something special, and it is a privilege. So yeah, I think that's something that you should really enjoy and sort of wear on your sleeve kind of thing.
That's awesome. All right, and we're gonna finish with some like quick fire questions here, okay? Right.
Yeah, sweet.
Wellington or Dunedin?
Oh man, this is so hard. You can't do this to me, man. But if I have to pick one, yeah, that's such a hard question. But if I have to pick one, I have to say Wellington. Wellington.
Oh my God. Okay. Favorite English food that you have found whilst being over here that you really love?
Well, I tell you what's not my favorite English food, and that's mushy peas with fish and chips.
Is it not?
Like, what is that? What is
That's
that?
lovely,
Mushy
mate.
peas with fish and chips. But I tell you what, my favorite. Oh mate, you guys have lost it. But I think my favorite thing since coming over would probably be, I think Percy Pigs. Percy Pigs
Oh,
would probably be
nice.
my favorite.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Percy Pigs.
Best teammate at Wasps?
My best teammate. I'd probably have to say. I'd probably have to say Malachi. Yeah, Malachi.
Nice. Oh
He,
yeah, probably quite a few years with him.
Yeah, Malachi. Yeah.
Okay. And the most skillful player you've ever played with?
Most skillful. Oh, that's an easy one. I think for me, it's Sonny Bill Williams.
Oh wow. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, most skillful. Yeah. Just the
He's
freakish
a freak,
offloads he could
He's
do.
a freak, man. He can play both codes. He can do everything.
Yeah, like he's 6'4", 6'5". He looks like Hercules. He's chiseled from the gods. You know what I mean? And he's got these big hands that just hold the ball like tennis balls, and he throws it out the back, or half his offload. You're just like, how'd you get that away? But yeah, I'd say he'd probably be one of the most skillful I've ever played with. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, and last one. One word to describe getting your first All Black cap.
Probably surreal. Yeah, I'd say it was just a surreal experience. Like playing in South Africa at altitude. At Ellis Park. It was pretty daunting and scary. But yeah, it was surreal. It was like everything. It was everything you had imagined as a kid or dreamt of as a kid. So yeah, it was a surreal.
Oh, mate.
I'd say so.
That's awesome, mate. That's awesome. Hey, Lee, mate, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you got kids and stuff and daddy daycare to do and all that sort of stuff. So, man, I really appreciate it.
Nah, no worries, man. Anytime, anytime. Good to catch up and have a yarn.
Cheers, boy. So what I'll do, I'll